The lighthouse at the east, the sea at Black Rock Point doesn't whisper. It tells you things straight, if you know how to listen. That was what Grandma used to say before she got sick, before everyone started walking on eggshells around me like I was made of glass. I was 16 when I went to stay with Grandpa that summer. I was angry back then. Angry that Mom and Dad lied about Grandma's illness for 6 months, saying she was just tired. Angry that they sent me away to the edge of nowhere instead of letting me be with her at the end. Angry that every time I asked what's really going on, someone would change the subject or pat my hand and say, "It's for the best." I thought truth was something simple, something sharp, like a knife. Either it was there or it wasn't. Either you told it or you lied. Grandpa was the lighthouse keeper. His cottage was stuck right between the gray rocks and the sky, the white tower rising behind it like a bone. He didn't talk much. Most days he'd spend hours polishing the big lens in the lantern room, or mending nets, or just sitting on the porch staring out at the water. A week after I arrived, I found Grandma's old leather journal tucked in the back of a cupboard. The first page had her handwriting, soft and looping. "Truth is not what you see. It's what holds up what you see." I brought it to Grandpa that evening, as we sat by the fire eating stew. "What does that mean?" I asked. "Truth is just what happened, right? Facts." He leaned back in his chair, his face lined like the cliffs outside. "Facts are just the pieces. Little bird, truth is the whole picture. Want to hear a story?" That was how he started. The story of the starling. "It was 32 years ago," he said. October, the same month Grandma died. A storm hit, the kind that tears roofs off and sends waves crashing over the highest rocks. Back then, the lighthouse ran on an old mechanical system, not like the automatic one we have now. You had to wind it, check it every hour, make sure the light kept turning. That night, Grandpa was on duty. Around midnight, he heard a sound over the wind, not a ship's horn. A cry. He leaned out of the lantern room and saw it. A small fishing boat, broken engine, drifting straight for the rocks. On board were 3 people, a man, a woman, and a baby only a few months old. They were waving, screaming, about to hit the rocks any second. Grandpa faced a choice. The lighthouse mechanism had started to slip. If he stayed to fix it, the light would go out in 10 minutes. But if he left to get that boat, he wouldn't get back in time. The Starling was a cargo ship, Grandpa said, his voice quiet. It was coming from the city, carrying supplies for the town. 7 people on board. They knew the route. They knew to watch for the light. He chose the small boat. He ran down the stairs, launched his dinghy, fought through the waves to get to the family. He pulled them out, got them to shore safe. By the time he ran back up the lighthouse stairs, the light was dead. And far out, he saw the lights of the Starling disappear beneath the waves. The next day, the whole town knew. The official report said the lighthouse light had been off that night. For years, people whispered behind his back, said he was careless, said he fell asleep, said 7 people died because of him. "Why didn't you tell them?" I asked. My throat felt tight. "Why didn't you say you saved that family?" Grandpa stared into the fire. The captain of the Starling was a man named Thomas Halley. He had a wife and 3 little girls. The truth was, he'd been drinking that night. He saw the light fade, but he thought he could make it past the rocks anyway. If I told everyone what really happened, what choice I made, they'd have known he was to blame. his girls would have grown up being called the children of the man who killed everyone. They already lost their father. I didn't see the point in breaking them too. So you lied, I said. You let everyone hate you. Just to what? Protect them. I didn't lie, Grandpa said softly. I just didn't tell all of the truth. Not then. Not for 30 years. That night, I couldn't sleep. I walked up to the lantern room, the big lens turning slow, casting beams of light out across the dark sea. I thought about what he said. I thought about all the things I hadn't told anyone, to how I quit the swimming team 3 months before, because I was scared I'd never be good enough. Scared I'd let Mom and Dad down, how I'd been pretending everything was fine, lying to them, lying to myself, because the truth felt too heavy to say out loud. A few days later, we went into town. I saw an old woman sitting outside a shop, and when she saw Grandpa, she didn't look away. She smiled and waved. Later, I asked him who she was. That's Mary Halley, he said, Thomas's wife. She came to see me 10 years ago. She'd found his old journal. She knew the truth. She said she was glad I didn't tell anyone back then. Said it let her girls grow up normal. I thought then about what truth really is. It's not just a fact written down in a report. It's not something you throw at people just because you have it. Sometimes truth is sharp and it cuts. Sometimes it's soft and it waits. Grandpa told me there are different kinds of truth. There's the truth you owe the world. The truth that stops people from getting hurt. The truth that fixes wrongs. There's the truth you owe the people you love. The truth that doesn't hide sickness or fear or mistakes. And there's the truth you owe yourself. The one you can't run from, no matter how hard you try. Lies are like heavy stones, he said. You can carry one for a while, even 2. But after enough time, they weigh you down, and you sink. Truth feels heavy at first when you pick it up, but once you hold it, it gets lighter. It's the only thing that lets you stand straight. That night, I called my parents. I told them I was angry, that I hated they lied about Grandma. I told them I quit swimming, that I was scared. And you know what? They cried, and they said they were sorry, that they lied because they didn't want me to worry. And for the first time in months, everything felt right, like a fog had lifted. At the end of summer, when I had to go home, Grandpa gave me a small piece of glass from the old lighthouse lens. It was clear and heavy, and when you held it up to the light, it glowed. Truth is like this light, he said, as we stood by the gate. It doesn't choose who sees it. It just is. It shows you the rocks so you don't crash. It shows you the way home. Sometimes it shows you things you don't want to see, but it's the only thing that's real. I still have that piece of glass on my desk. When I'm confused, when I'm scared to say what's real, I hold it. I remember the sea and the lighthouse and the old man who carried a secret for 30 years just to be kind. Truth isn't a knife. It's a light. It doesn't exist to hurt you. It exists to guide you. And no matter how dark it gets, it's always there, waiting for you to look for it.